What are we to make of these big busts? Does it mean governments are getting better at cracking down, or is it simply a cost of doing business for those sending the shipments? I asked that question to Peter Vincent. He was with the U.S. Department of Justice.
Mike, you're absolutely right. They are incredibly sophisticated businessmen. They know what they're doing. They may be malevolent, but it's a certain sort of evil genius. And the profit margins are so large, and they make calculations knowing that they're going to lose a certain percentage of the shipments to the United States, whether it's by sea, air, or land. Even with the shipments that we're able to capture, they're still getting through approximately 80 to 90% of the loads to the United States. And with the semi-submersibles, with these so-called narco submarines, they're able to get massive quantities to the United States, break them up into much smaller quantities, cut them with something else, and make just massive profits. So it's an incredible challenge. And because they're making so much money, they are quite literally able to hire the best scientists, the best accountants, the best lawyers in the world to help them in this venture. They are very sophisticated. They are criminal organizations of great sophistication.
What about the link between cooperation between these governments who are combating them? Do you see stronger links there? Is that contributing to the high number of busts?
The high number of busts is 100% attributable to two factors. The first being exactly what you mentioned: greater cooperation, greater coordination between South American countries like Colombia, predominantly, all of the Central American countries, to include Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama, the United States, of course, and Canada. They're able to share intelligence, to share evidence, and to work in a much more coordinated fashion than they have in the past. The second reason is that there is much greater coordination within the United States government. That coordination and that almost seamless cooperation now is much better than it was even 5 or 6 years ago. They're sharing more intelligence, they're understanding what the respective limits on their capacity and missions are, and they're able to merge all of this in a way that makes perfect sense, and then to coordinate in a multilateral way with some of the countries that I just mentioned.
I guess the question everybody has is, are they getting the big guys? And if they are there more big guys just waiting in the wings?
With respect to busting, capturing individuals in these narco submarines, in these semi-submersibles, in these submersibles, they're getting the small fry. They're getting what we call diplomatically the knuckleheads, the mouth breathers, the knuckle draggers. The big fry, the so-called whales, the big fish, no. They are still in their mansions, in hideaways all over the world. These guys don't drive boats, and they certainly don't drive submarines. They fly first class, and if they've got the money, they fly in their own Lear jets. And they're always able to replace the small fry, the so-called minnows. There are always other individuals, for whatever reason, mostly economic, that are willing to step into the fray and to take that great risk across the Pacific Ocean, all the way to the United States, in the hopes of gaining what for them is a pretty sizable payday. The big fish, they're insulated. When they travel, they don't travel with their dope. They're sophisticated enough, they're senior executives, to know better.
So I guess when you look at the landscape, you see these big numbers, one would applaud that, and yet when you look at the landscape that you see, perhaps not. I mean, what are the tangible net effects of all of this?
Well, the immediate net effects is that in capturing and busting the individuals driving the boats, operating the boats, you're able to debrief them, to interrogate them, to gather more intelligence, to gather more evidence. You're able to grab their cell phones, their satellite phones, their laptop computers, and to download information on there, all in an effort to gain a greater understanding of the larger transnational criminal elements, the big organizations, the cartels, and hopefully these individuals will talk, and Mike, they all talk, in order to gain some sort of reduction in their sentence, and they will dime out individuals who immediately supervise them. And so it leads to greater coordination, greater cooperation into complicated and complex investigations and prosecutions in the United States and overseas of some of the big leaders of these organizations.
Peter Vincent, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.